Extra,
yeah.
extra pressure.
Yeah.
I can see that you have a beautiful fireplace behind your back.
Yes, it's pretty cold here, so I have to light this up.
Yeah, the winters come back. Now it's again cold. It's -6 or something. And I've been trying to practice and train for my half marathon that's going to be in May. But somehow, like now I've had a bit enough of these slippery roads that I need to run on. And now it's back again. So
you don't have you don't like to go to the gym?
No,
there?
No, I tried again yesterday to run on a treadmill, but I really prefer to run somewhere outside where I can actually move, and the scenery in my eyes is changing. It feels so much longer, so much more effort to do it on a treadmill. I don't know how it is for you.
I mean, I can run on a treadmill, but more like a sprints, more like intervals. But like a long distance, I don't think so. I prefer outside. But for example, now it'll be really hard because there's like a lot of snow. So
I don't actually mind the snow if it's fresh snow and there's enough of it, and then it's like condensed a bit. But my problem arrives when it first melts a little bit.
Yes.
Like do the rain, and then it freezes again. And now you cannot really run on it unless you have some sort of spikes that I'm not using myself. And it's a long winter, so you better get used to it. And then I tried, as I said, do it in the gym, but not for me.
Have you run in these treadmills that are like not? Well, they are not pushed like electronically, but they are pushed when you move your legs, and they are like in a curve. They're really good. They're really good.
I have tried it a couple of years ago, but I was just by myself. I really didn't know how it worked, so not properly. You've done it?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you just have to run because it moves with your legs. I mean, it's like a somehow it has this shape of like an EU, like a U, and you just run as much as you want, and it just goes with your speed. You cannot change the speed on the normal treadmills.
For me, it felt like when I start running, it starts speeding up. So I felt like it's going to go faster than I want to run, but apparently that does not happen, does it? If I slow down, it will slow down.
Yes, but also, of course, is meant to be kind of. I think the shape might make you speed up a little bit. I don't know how to call this. I don't know if it's like a belt that is there. It's more like these sections that they put. But I haven't done it in a long time. Yeah.
Have you ever
tried the eco bikes?
No.
Oof, that's good for the cardio as well. These eco bikes are like so you move your hands like this while you are biking as well, but then it moves like with your hands.
Okay.
Wait, my dog moved the whole thing.
Don't worry about. Have you ever run a half marathon? By the way, I've never done it myself before.
No, I never.
I think I've always hated running, first of all, and now for the past 2 years or so, I've been trying on and off, and now I want to practice for this half marathon because my friend.
Is it 21 kilometers?
Yeah. A friend of mine asked me to do it in Helsinki City Run, because we've been running and sharing our reports occasionally, and now we have an actual target, and I need to train for that. He's done it a couple of times before, but I haven't. It's a bit of a struggle, but I hope to do well enough.
Yeah, I have done 10 kilometers.
All right. Yeah.
Like to kind of like do it regularly and see my time, how much.
And do you remember what is your record? Roughly 50, 55 hour.
I remember I have done a 5 on time, like official, and it was like 23 minutes. And the 10, it was unofficial when I was in Nantali, just by my own. I would say maybe 50 something, 50, maybe 55.
All right. Not too bad.
Yeah.
That reminds me, just last week I tried, I was a little bit cocky. I read something about the army results of Finnish men who were joining army now, and in this Cooper test. You know Cooper test, right?
Yeah, I've done it as well.
Yeah, so you run for 12 minutes and see how far you can get. And the 3,000 meters is the proper result that you're trying. So I was like, one morning when I read it, I was like, okay, I'm about to go running anyway, so I will give it a go. But the only thing I had in mind that I will keep the pace of 3 kilometers. So I start with that pace and I go as long as I can. After 1 kilometer, I was like, I have to stop this.
Yeah.
So it was a reality check for me that like the speed was actually surprisingly fast that you have to run, because I haven't done it for
no, but it's really hard. Yeah. I mean, if you want to do 3,000 meters in 12 minutes, is very fast. I have done it, and I did 2,500 meters.
All right. Back in the days in the army, I was like 2,900 roughly.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I think I can get close to 3,000 now. But now it was just I was caught off guard a bit, because I just started running with this pace, and I was like, "Fuck, this is way faster than I was expecting." No, I didn't do the actual test because I wanted to keep the pace of 3,000 as long as I could. So I had to finish after 1 kilometer. So then I ended the experiment, and then I just jogged with a slower pace for the rest of the run.
Yeah, but you should try to do it to see nowadays, because I did it in, I think, last year. No. Last year. Or... yeah, maybe in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
During pandemic time, so it's recent.
Yeah. I joined this CrossFit gym when I moved to Nantali. And it was the best thing I could have done, because in Nantali, if you know, nothing is happening. I mean, it's very quiet. There's a lot of people that go retired, or just, not much movement there. Small city. In summer it's very nice, but it's still a small city. So for me, it was like I was working, and I just didn't find any gyms, like a proper gyms, and I have never tried CrossFit. But of course I've heard about it, and I know many people that do CrossFit and stuff. So I joined, and I got hooked straight away. And I was going like probably 5 times per week, or 6 times sometimes, but at least 4 or 5. And it was so nice because people at the gym was as well like super, well, of course, Finnish people, so they are serious, of course, but they start to break the ice a little bit slowly, and super nice people, everyone there. It was CrossFit Armo, and the coach was super nice. She was actually very young, and she was the owner of the gym. And as soon as I moved to Nantali, I joined the gym, and then the gym was like for a month in a place, and then they changed to a new place. And it was a huge difference, like a bigger place, nicer. So it was really cool. I was doing CrossFit the whole year, and very interesting sport, or type of exercise. Yeah, it's very interesting.
I've never tried it, but it's one of the things that it's curious to me to actually start as a hobby.
I think you will like it. I think you
I'm sure
if you like cardio and stuff like that, you will be really good at it, because it's not only about like lifting weights. It's more about like, okay, choosing my own weight, but doing good times. And
that's something I need quite a bit, because I can see that. Well, I go to gym 4 or 5 times a week to lift weights, and then I do those runs with slow pace. But none of that really is exercising my lungs, first of all. So whenever I do something with like faster, I get tired very easily. So it's something that I should do. Because I miss the days that when I was playing football or floorball here. And because you don't really... The problem with me with running is that you're so aware that you're struggling. But when you're playing team sports, it's just fun, and you're focusing on completely something else. And as like, how do you say it? Like, side benefit basically is that your cardio and your fitness levels are going up without you even having to pay attention to that.
Well, I mean, I'm an advocate of CrossFit to some extent, but I also know people that are like evangelists. You know, they dress like all CrossFit clothes, like Rogue and Reebok, and they're like all the time like that. And it's like a cult, you know. But I didn't fall. I didn't fall
religion
that deep. Yeah. It is like everything else. But you know, you find this in everything pretty much. But what I'm saying is that I would recommend. Now that I have done it, because it shows your weaknesses very fast. It will tell you, CrossFit will tell you very quickly what you need to improve. And so you can see a rapid improvement in your overall fitness, cardio, strength, mobility, because of the movements. You know, they are very simple things like push-ups and pull-ups, simple. But then you start to see these burpees. Right. So you probably can do like a few burpees, right? Like, you know how to do them.
Yeah. I just need to try it a few times to get my coordination up and running. But
yes.
At the first time when you do it, it feels like when you've never really done it so much, and it's not in your backbone. So
exactly.
You look like an idiot for the first times, but that's how it should be.
Everyone looks like an idiot when doing burpees.
Definitely.
At some point, because if you have to do like, let's say 50 burpees.
But do you still do CrossFit, or did you now move on to martial arts?
No, not anymore. Yeah, now I'm a normal gym. I just do different things like upper body and lower body. Then I do, for example, a full body, and then sometimes I do like only pull exercises, and other day I do push exercises. Everything that is push.
And where do you get your knowledge? What's your background when it comes to fitness and gym? Because one of the when I was a young guy, I was always a skinny guy. I just did team sports, I was sporty, but I never had any muscle because I never went to gym or did any muscle training. I found that later in my life, and whenever I but I never had a coach or anything like that or trainer. So everything I know is just by looking at how people are doing at the gym, and then of course Googling and searching everything. But whenever you start going down that rabbit hole, there are so many things that you can find.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's very difficult to, like, if I were to start again and I had no idea, it would be a bit difficult. And I can also witness with my rookie eye, like a lot of times when I go to gym and I see people doing things in a way that maybe this is not the safest way, or not only it's not the safest, but you can tell that this doesn't really give benefits. And it's, but where do you get your knowledge and information?
Well, I mean, I have been doing it for a while, because same as you, I was very skinny when I was young. I play football, basketball, volleyball, run. I skateboard, like a longboard, a downhill, but I also like to go long distances with the longboard through the city. And you always find these downhills or uphills, and so that was already something that will make you skinny by itself. And at some point of my life, my weight, it was like 67 kilos. And I'm like 184.
Oh, wow.
67. So I was very skinny at some point. And I decided, okay, well, I kind of want to change some things. I stopped drinking alcohol for like that's one thing. I started going to the gym, and I have a friend in Colombia, and he told me this very structured routine that until today I remember, which was like chest. No, it was like you train a big muscle and a small muscle. So, for example, you go do chest and biceps. Another day you do back and triceps. The next day you do legs and shoulders. And the next day you can do small muscles like forearms, calves, traps, abs. You can do abs every day. And then you in between you put rest days. And then you have a week.
That's actually quite funny, because the split that you explained to me, I did the same for quite a long time, just because I felt like this is a good way to do it, like
a natural kind of way to do it. Okay, cool.
Semi-natural, because
Yes.
I also I had like some sort of vast understanding, but I had studied from different resources.
Yeah.
But then I started to putting something together in my head, like maybe these two would go together, and then it would make sense. And even that you said that legs and shoulders, I was like, I can do shoulders because on the other days it's not very focus point for me, so I can add it with the legs. So that's kind of funny to hear that.
Yeah, but you can do that as well, and then from that point, then you can vary different things. For example, abs, you can always do abs, or more like I would like to call it like core instead of abs, because it's not like you really want to have abs like six pack. Some people will like to have that, but it's more like to strengthen your core. So you can do different exercise for that. So always kind of do something at the end. In the middle, you can like you warm up, and then the main exercises will be like what you were saying. But you can also, if you don't feel like doing the same thing all the time, because that happened to me, that I do this structure that I told you, like chest, biceps, or tricep, then you can do like upper body, everything that feels natural for you to do upper body, and another day lower body. And then I include CrossFit into this full body day. So it would be, for example, doing thrusters. So thruster is when you take a bar, Olympic bar, and you do like a front squat, is when you have the bar here and you do a front squat. And then going up, you extend your arms toward to a shoulder press. And that's, for example, a full body.
But have you had any serious injuries during your time when you've been working out? Because if I understand correctly, you also never had a coach or trainer.
At CrossFit,
in the gym. CrossFit, of course, but
yes,
in the gym.
In the gym, no. I would probably always have my back straight, things like that. That trying to make like.
But never any big injuries with ankles, shoulders.
No.
Back,
no,
bicep.
I believe a lot in the. No. I believe a lot in ego lifting, and that's something that I have always had, that I'm not gonna try to lift just because a lot of people happen that they are pumped, they have been going to the gym quite a lot, and then one day you just feel like, I'm gonna do this huge weight because I want to do a PR, and then they tear a muscle or something. I have never had that too.
My only issues have been occasionally some. I remember when I started to go in the gym for the first time, I was probably like 26, 27, something like that. And after maybe 6 months or so, I started, the other hand of mine was starting to feel a bit numb in a way that I couldn't really exercise properly. I couldn't hold or squeeze my hand properly. And I needed to go for physiotherapist massage for that. Mm-hmm. And it passed. I still don't know how it came about. Like, I don't know how I got it, but probably I did.
Did you have it again or?
No,
it never happened before. Okay, after no,
never happened after. No,
yeah.
So there was something, and the other thing is, like, as you know, I suffered for the past 1.5 years of the spinal disc hernia on my lower back, and but prior to that serious injury, I had occasionally lower back problems, and 2 or 3 times at the gym it started, but not like big crack, just I did something and then I sprained something on my back and then it started to hurt, but it was gone after a few days or a week.
Yeah.
But those are the only ones. But
yeah, because sometimes what I have also heard is that when you are doing an exercise, it's really important that you are using the right muscles. So some people it can happen to you without even knowing that you are doing the exercises and the strength is coming from the back. So everything that you're doing, the back is like probably not straight, in the position is not like proper. So the strain comes first from the back, doing some resistance, and then you're using the muscle, whatever muscle you're doing. And that can happen to pretty much any exercise. So it's also important that if you have some problem or something, like I had this coach that it was for free when I joined a gym, Elixir, and the idea is that they're gonna try to get you into this program that you need to pay them. But what I did is like, hey, no, look, this is the exercise that I do. I just need to show me the proper form in this 1 hour that we're gonna be together. And that was very helpful because I told him, I do this, I do that, and then he was showing me the proper form, and then I just straight away memorized that for life.
There are some small nuances that I would need to know as well. I realized that I have a good friend who owns a gym and is running that. And one time I went there and he showed me, because I had these back problems, and I asked about the deadlift and the correct technique to do it. And when he told me that, like, I was able to, as you said, like, to find these small details in the form how you should do it, which I had just had some sort of light idea of how I should be doing it. And I wasn't doing it like super wrong, but there was still something off. And those tiny details that a trainer or coach can show you, it can make a huge difference. Yes. And it was very helpful to have the discussion with him and the training.
If I will be millionaire, I will probably have my own personal coach for life.
Same.
Definitely. Yeah. I will
traveling
have
one even.
That go like, give me a structure, give me nutrition, give me all the. Now the reality is, you can pay one session, ask all the questions you need to ask, and that's it. And it's just like €90, €65, I don't know, depending on the gym and the coach. And that will be a lot of help.
But it starts to fade away a bit. But yeah. And there's only so much you can learn within an hour or two. But you can get those tiny details in the most important exercises. You can get them right, and then you remember for life, as you're saying right now.
Yeah. Because as I told you, I was my weight was like 67, and then I moved to Australia. And before moving to Australia, I was already at the gym. And then I was doing gym, and then when I moved to Australia, I was like surfing, swimming, playing tennis, going to the gym. But I also was working like crazy in a restaurant, like as a bartender, and you know, this multi-restaurant that has like pizza, pasta. So also you are sweating all the time. It's just all the time standing up. So it's really hard to build, to bulk up. I also joined a gym, Strongman.
No.
Strongman is like these guys that are like quite strong, and they do this Atlas stone, Atlas, this concrete. And they just put it on top of something. Farmer carrying, they do this.
Yeah. I know that. When I was a kid, I saw there were some famous Finnish athletes who were winning occasionally, like the world championship. But
and then you carry something like this, and you have to go around something. So that's strong. And in Australia, I joined one gym like that. They also give me a routine that I also have still. I don't always use it, but sometimes, so I have done different things.
But I think this is a good segue from that to your enthusiasm towards video games as well, because somehow it's connected, because it's still we have esports these days, and a lot of kids these days, they have substituted the things that we used to do as an exercise or sport with esports nowadays. But you have a combination of having both of those as your hobbies. When did you start playing video games?
I started playing video games when I got the Sega.
Sega megadrive.
Yeah, the Sega. I was the Sega Genesis.
I can't recall that.
Sega Genesis was this console that was black, and it was probably when the first Sonic was launched. Sonic the Hedgehog. Sega Genesis. I think it was in 1995 I started playing. But before I got my own, my cousin has this thing called like the Family, the Atari or Nintendo Atari Family, something like that.
Sorry, I had to interrupt now, because I Googled it, and Sega Genesis, it's known as Mega Drive outside North America. So we were talking about the same console, but we had a different name for it.
So Mega Drive. Okay.
Yeah, but still Genesis as well. But only according to Wikipedia, it's only in North America called Genesis. But basically talking about the same. That was my obsession back in the days as well.
Me too. I was playing like Sonic, Aladdin, Tasmania,
Lion King,
yeah, exactly.
But you probably didn't play NHL. the hockey?
No. I play NFL in that thing and soccer.
Because that was a big thing for us. NHL 95, 96, and 97. I still have actually a good friend from my time as a child that he has the console right now.
I had it as well. I have.
But you still have it and it's operating?
Yeah.
Oh,
in
wow.
Colombia, yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And he has set it up in his garage. And but
cool.
But only one time, because I don't live near him. Only one time or twice maybe I've been there to play a couple of NHL matches. And when I was a kid, I was on top of my game, but now when he's been exercising, I cannot compete.
Yeah.
When he's been
well,
training.
I mean, but nowadays, when you see the Sega, then cool. But then when you see the next one, which is the Super Nintendo, you remember the gray?
I remember it, but I never had it, so I don't have a lot of memories myself from it.
That one I was as well like, that's crazy, because there was 2 or 3 friends in my neighborhood that had the same one, and then we all have these cassettes, and then we were stealing from each other these cassettes. Like, so I got from this guy, I then to this guy, so everyone was like having everyone's games. Like right now in my home, I have like literally like 40 cassettes. I don't even know who is, like, no idea. Probably just that half of it is mine, or a third is mine.
Those were quite big deals.
Yeah. And then I had the PlayStation 1.
Do you have an all-time favorite, either game or a console? Or is it difficult to pick one?
Yeah, I mean, it's each one has its own charm, because of course they are like new generations. So,
but something that you connect with strong emotions, that sets a game or a console apart because of that, not because the game is anyway superior or enjoyable.
Yeah. Okay.
Some sort of special,
like a
connection.
Sentimental. Yeah. Well, if I will have to think about that way, then the Sega Genesis, because it was not the first one, but it was also when my parents are separated. They separated, but when I got the Sega, they were together at that time. So I was living with my dad and my mom at that time. But then when I have the Super Nintendo, was already when they were already separated. So I remember that the Sega was something that I used to play with my dad, and he would just help me to like pass the game. And then when I couldn't, I was frustrated, and they were like, you have to try to do this or to do that. So I remember those times of like, kind of like a more family. After that, it was more like,
for your own entertainment.
Yeah, on friends, because yeah.
Okay, so there's a kind of clear distinction in your life.
Yeah. But if you want to think about a game that I really like, I have always liked is Metal Gear Solid. I don't know if you know what it is.
I do. I used to play it when I had the first PlayStation. I also played it quite a bit, but a friend of mine played it a lot more. So I think I had it myself to not only play it with him, but it was a great game back in the day. I don't know. Good. I have no idea if they're still releasing new games or not, but
so there's a new one called Metal Gear. I think it's 5, and it's the Phantom Pain. Wow, it's really good. I already played. I already passed it, but I was planning to play it a little bit more.
So what are the modern games in the past, let's say, past 2-3 years that you've been playing or that stand out to you?
So Assassin's Creed is this or like a brand already, and it's like, do you know what Assassin's Creed is?
Yeah, it's kind of.
So I can tell you quickly. So there is this brand already built on this Ubisoft company that they have these multiple games, but the beginning of it is that there is this the first game is the Crusades. So all this religion strong, like a plot about like the Crusades, and there is this hidden sect or like hidden creed. This is this Assassin's Creed. So the thing is that Ubisoft has gathered religion, facts, history, and have made up this plot, this history. So and it's really fun because when you read books that are related to like the time of Jesus Christ, and if supposedly, if that existed, there was this thing that they had in the mushroom, ergot that grow in the bread and the wine, and that ergot make people to kind of like be in an altered state, because of course the ergot is like a psychoactive. And in the game, what they say is there is this plant, which actually there's a plant in history that they used to like burn it, and people will get also this certain effect. So the whole thing is that along history, the first game is in the like in the Crusades, then it comes to like the Vatican and all this Rome and Italy kind of time, and then it goes to the Civil War, then it goes to and then they have all this Egypt, Greece, the Vikings, they have all this kind of timeline. They have many games, but the whole history is still like this. There are two sides of it. So it's really cool to see that somebody has put that into a game.
So you can actually learn about history while you're playing.
Yeah, a little bit, because they talk about the Templars and these hidden societies. It's kind of fun to be immersed in a game that the plot is about that, kind of like that you kind of feel that is nowadays what's happening. There's some people that's trying to control, some group, some company, like in this case is Abstergo. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to explain the whole thing, but it's like reading a book.
Yeah, that much I know, that it's a big deal. It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I probably butcher it, but
for me, the most important games ever, I would say, has been FIFA and NHL, and
FIFA
playing with friends. There were times that I was playing it also online against opponents, or against the console or computer itself, but I never really enjoyed that as much as when you get together with friends and you have this kind of fighting spirit that you have with them, and the competitor in you steps up and you start to argue and curse and have a couple of beers and all that. It's quite fun.
I have had many hours of that as well with friends, like FIFA or UFC or fighting games and stuff like that. And you just, a few beers and just start to play. I also have these games that are cooperative. That's quite fun.
Yeah.
And you play with...
What is your stance on... I don't have a lot of experience in these modern technology games like VR, for example. I've used it only a couple of times. It's an interesting world, but have you experimented with it a lot?
No, not really.
Do you see that? Because there's still something is a bit off. One surprising thing to me was when I learned that when it comes to VR technology is that people actually, they are incapable, most of us, to play them for a long time because something in the balancing system in our brain goes fucked up a bit for using that. So that's one of the problems that they still have to figure out how to do getting more and more people in it.
Yeah. I mean, I always think about like what's natural for the body. Kind of like, I mean, nothing is natural or everything is natural, but more like not in that type of discussion, but more like we already are playing in front of a screen. We already having like a remote to put something that like your eyes are, I think it's too much. I can play for fun, but I don't see like me playing Skyrim or Red Dead Redemption or Grand Theft Auto or some RPG game that you have to be immersed already in the history and the thing to be now have like a VR. I don't think so. Maybe some boxing, for fun with a friend or something, or
erotic games. It's one of the options that they have. About. Or traveling, like you don't actually have to leave your sofa and you're going to be back in Bogota or in Maldives or wherever.
Have you heard about the Cyberpunk 2077?
No.
It's a Keanu Reeves game. No,
I have no idea.
No, so there is the Cyberpunk 2077. There's also show in Netflix, and it's about kind of like that world that already has evolved to a lot of technological advancements and stuff. And some people are like, if you can play that on PC and you put some mods, like modifications on the game, it's very erotic as well. I mean, of course, it has this. It's like a Grand Theft Auto modern, but also has a lot of stuff. Like Grand Theft Auto already have a lot of. You can just pick up a hooker and stop somewhere.
Yeah, but you're still not
Stuff.
in it. It's still a character.
Yeah.
You, but yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, these topics are quite interesting, but at the same time, like it's not something that people talk too much about it.
Of course, the games are the interesting part for entertainment, but I'm more curious about how they can help people with like some sort of mental conditions or health conditions when you have you suffered from some physical trauma, and then you can learn to practice to move your neck and stuff like that. They're using it for physiotherapy. These kind of solutions are pretty interesting to me.
I mean, if you ask me what's the future, more like in that question would be, so if you can have a VR, so, and I'm a person that I'm working in this industry, then I will have maybe one camera here and one camera here, and maybe, just I'm in a bed or I'm in the center, and there is cameras around me or something, some kind of like a set. Or even one camera or two cameras, I don't know. And I can just put the goggles, and I feel that I'm now this person that is like a webcam model is there, and I can see her. I can move. Look at the show, but it's not only that I'm looking. I can also chat with that person and send money. Let's say tokens. So I would say, for example, can you turn around? And she could say like, 50 tokens. And the person have like 3,000 tokens. So it's like, 50, easy. Can you, take up your shirt? Yeah, that's 100 tokens. I send it. And there are other people in the room. And, like probably the girl can say, 20,000 tokens are 1,000 euros. So 1,000 euros, let's say, if in this range of time that I'm going to be online, let's say 4 hours, I can gather 20,000 tokens, or in a day. And people are like bidding on that until she can maybe get naked and play with some toys and have an orgasm. And everyone is like, I mean, if you are like incapable of maybe go to the bar and pick up some girls, or you are scared of talking to girls, this is the place that you want to go. Yeah.
So it's like OnlyFans in virtual reality.
Yeah. Or much. For example, I mean, or it already exists. It's called Chaturbate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's not the virtual reality.
I have a hole in my sophistication. I have a hole in there because I don't know about this.
Man, you have to know about everything.
Yeah, I know. I need to keep my eyes open and improve my Twitter feed and all that.
Yeah.
But moving on from that to a bit more traditional topic is what I wanted to talk to you about, also the importance of books that we see. I know you're a reader as well, and you appreciate the wisdom that we can find from the books. And one of the curious things to me is I remember when I was younger, I never really thought that I would enjoy reading nonfiction books. I think it started from school and the textbooks and the forced nature of it. So I always connected the nonfiction books in something like this. Therefore, I never really read it. And occasionally when I read books, they were fiction, some novels, which were quite fun, but I never did it so much. Mm-hmm. But it was then some years ago, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago or something like that, I was exploring some topics and I found a podcast. And in this podcast, 2-hour podcast, they were interviewing a person who was, let's say it was about Scientology, because I remember that was one of the first ones that I looked into. And during these 2 hours, I realized that I learned a lot. And then I started to listen more of these long form podcasts. And when I did that, I started to listen to a lot of authors as well. They have their own books or some books that were mentioned in it. So that led me to listen to audiobooks, because I was like, if I like listen to podcasts, why wouldn't I like audiobooks? And then I started to listen to that. And then I moved on to physical books. So it was quite unconventional way, I would say, like from podcast to audiobooks to books. But now I love all those formats, and I've collected plenty of books, and I read way more than I used to read. Still not enough to my liking, because sometimes it can feel like an effort. But how do you, like, what is your habit when it comes to reading and books?
I used to read more before, but nowadays I like podcasts as well. I want to get into audiobooks. I was going to ask you, like, what do you use? Like Audible or?
And I've used Audible as well before. I think I have a couple of books there that's still, but I don't have a subscription. Which one would you recommend? I like Storytel. For the functionality of it. And it has English books and it has Finnish books, but it doesn't have it all. BookBeat was one that I used to use at some point, but I think I preferred Storytel. It's been a while since I used BookBeat.
Is it Finnish, or why it has Finnish books, or is it has everything? Or
I don't remember where it's. I don't think it's Finnish.
Yeah, because
I think BookBeat can be Finnish, but Storytel might be something else. But I'm not sure.
Okay, so would you recommend Storytel for me, because I want to get into audiobooks? So
yeah, I think you can get this like 1 week or 2 week trial, so you can see what kind of books they have, if they have enough for you. And I collect multiple. When I hear about the new book, I add it on my Apple Books list, like books to read. And now that I go through the list that dates back for a couple of years, it's so long, I can probably never read those books. And then I check them. This is interesting. This is interesting. This is interesting. But somehow we have to. It's difficult.
I have a few books that I have read like physically, but not so much. Podcast, I have heard a few as well, like quite often, to be honest.
Finally, to me, it arrived, the book that you recommended, Book of Life by Krishnamurti. And now I've only explored a couple of passages that it has. And this guy, he's peace. He's calmness.
I mean, you see, I mean, I was not sure if you would be okay with not having a book which is like the whole, like a sequence, because this is more like a
it's same as
conversations kind of.
It's same as, I don't know if you know Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. This classic.
That I wanna go for as well. I haven't read.
I have that as well if you want to borrow it, but it's also this kind of collection of text that were never meant to be published.
Nice.
So he's just written it for himself. And then another one that I've read as an ebook, not all of it, just some parts, is the Daily Stoic, under the same umbrella as the Meditations, but that's also for each day of the year. There's a Stoic idea from one of the philosophers, and then he breaks it down how he sees that for each day, like 1 page, maximum 1.5 page each day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the thing with Krishnamurti is that if you read one thing of him and then just don't keep going into like trying to understand where he's coming from, like what is it that he's trying to say, it's gonna it could maybe be hard for somebody to follow more reading, to keep reading it.
I'm sure, but I listened to a couple of his interviews, but I believe reading a book is a better way in this case to get a hold of his thoughts.
If you like as well, there's a few ones that I can recommend, like the Flight of the Eagle. Also, in Spanish is the Darse Cuenta. Is like to be aware. the first and last step, I think. I have also one in English. If you wanna have the awakening of intelligence, that's also very, very, very good one. And it's in English, so I can borrow it to you. If you wanna probably give me Marco Aurelius, I can borrow the awakening of intelligence. Really good. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that this Krishnamurti has this thing that he talks about certain things that are like very from him, like this, the what it is. I don't know if you have seen it. The what it is. He always talk about this what it is, and that's very interesting because I haven't seen it in any other one of these philosophers or anybody similar. The what it is and the observer is the observed. The all these kind of analogies or I don't know thoughts that he has, and that's why if in the same with the Sega Genesis with this like the of Metal Gear Solid, I think Krishnamurti is one of those that I have very close to my heart somehow because
I love how we can go back to like
different topics.
Comparing Sega Genesis to Krishnamurti and finding connection points. Yeah.
Yeah, and now, for example, jiu-jitsu as well I saw something because everywhere I go, at least in Finland, I feel a little bit lonely because I have my wife, I have 2 dogs, but I don't know anybody. I go to work and people has their own life because they live here, so they're from here, so their families are here, friends are here, so they don't need kind of sometimes to have this connection with which I sometimes when I talk with a colleague. I'm trying to make conversation and trying to get to know the person a bit better and see if, like, I have made friends along my trips from, young people that look at me as an old brother to people that I look up as a not maybe as a father figure, but like an uncle or like an aunt. And that to me has always been something that I have appreciated quite a lot because we talk about in another podcast about this family concept of nuclear family. So my blood is strictly related. But when you put that aside and you feel like, everyone around is just, it's up to you. If you want to give that opportunity of connection to somebody, to a random person. Now you do that, you open yourself and sometimes the other person opens as well or not. So in the case, for example, jiu-jitsu now it's been like I go there and some people are like in their own thing, they are not like looking for like friends, exactly. Yeah. But some of them you can see that. So you're like, I already know, this guy, cool. Cool.
Ian, one of the problems that we have here, like I can picture myself in a similar position, like when I would go to a new place, whether it's work environment or some hobby in sports, I might be living in a new city or a new country or whatever, and I might be also looking for friends, but I would never like at some point maybe, but I would rarely initiate the conversation to make friends because of the person that I am. Like I'm not as open about it, and to me it takes a bit of time to because I'm observing the people around me, whether it's like I can date back to, or I can go back in my memories to multiple workplaces that I've been to, and at first I'm comfortable there sitting in the meetings with people, but if I don't have to say anything, I'm just listening and observing. 6 months later, I'm a completely different person because then I know how I can behave with each of these people. So it also changes my understanding of them and how I know I can behave around them without the risk of like hurting or offending or something like that. I just need more time to understand them before jumping into.
But don't you think this is something that is more about understanding yourself than the others?
Probably, yeah.
Because you should be yourself. But of course you cannot, if yourself, like well, I mean, of course, sometimes people can be very sporadic and say things without thinking and hurt people, or maybe, but I don't think you are one of those persons. I don't think so. So what I'm saying is that, I mean, sometimes
it can happen. I can occasionally surprise, but in general, you're correct.
Well, but I don't think it's that bad as you think. So maybe, I mean, do you think trust is earned?
I would say most people think that other people has to earn their trust, but I like to reverse it in a way that, Omar, I have 100% trust in you from the get-go because it's so much faster to think like that, and then it's for you to lose it.
Yeah. So why you, in that cases that you are listening and trying to know how to be with these people first, because that's also a slow process.
It is.
Yeah. So if you mix this, trust is given, and also you are yourself, trust that those people are not going to judge you, and trust that those people are going to accept the way you are. And if not, then, it's you to give them another opportunity and then adapt. Because for me, I have to be, maybe we are different, of course, in that way. I'm very open. I'm very straightforward. Sometimes I'm a little bit bold or even cheeky.
Controversial,
yeah. Yes.
We need more of that in this podcast, by the way. So keep going.
Yeah. I was just very recently talking about all this sex stuff, and I was thinking, like, maybe this is not for the podcast, but maybe we can have a podcast only for that. Invite somebody that is more like an expert, and
sexologist,
like OnlyFans. Or that, or a sexologist.
By the way, did you? That reminds me. Sorry for interrupt, but did you listen to one of the latest episodes by Lex Fridman, where he had this OnlyFans sex worker?
No, but it's on my list because I'm finishing other ones.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting discussion as well.
Yeah, did you?
But
okay.
Yeah, I listened to most of it. I think, but occasionally it was just the noise in the background. So
that guy is such a nice guy. This Lex Fridman. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's spreading the love, and
he's all about that, right?
He wants to understand everybody's perspective without judgment. That's the way I see it, and wants to give them voice, and that's important to me because we have 8 billion opinions in this world, and it's more important to, like, someone said it beautifully, that for her, I think it was she, the when he started seeing world differently was when she thought that she doesn't anymore try to change the world. Now she tries to understand the world.
Who?
I'm trying to recall who it was. I think she was this. I'm pretty sure, but I forget the name. It's Amala something. But she's mixed
she said that about
young
Lex,
girl.
Or
no. It was just my brain went there when it comes to like this shift of thinking. Like rather than trying to change the world in a way that you don't let people to speak for themselves, you try to understand the world, and that's what Lex is, I think, doing. Is wants to understand from multiple perspectives how they see the world, and then gives everybody enough information to make up their own conclusions. But it just reminded me of this other girl who said this word sentence.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the easiest part is doing it when you are happy and when you are feeling like everything is in place, and when people is being nice to you and all that stuff. The challenge is when you are facing adversity, and when somebody is not nice to you, when somebody probably that's the challenge. Because I have seen in Instagram, I've seen everywhere these people and even philosophers and well-known, they all talk about certain things that is like in theory is okay, but it's a day by day.
And often intelligent, smart people get it wrong too.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I might be wrong there when I interpret that they're getting it wrong, but I try to remain humble enough to admit if I'm quote unquote proven wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think intelligence is smart. Well, I mean, now we are talking about like semantics, but I think you should separate intellect and intelligence. I don't think they are the same thing, because you can be a highly intellectual person, but you not necessarily are very intelligent. Because like a quick example is like you are super intellectual, and you're creating a like atomic bomb. If you will be intelligent, you will not develop something like that.
I need to chew this topic more because my brain cannot handle it so quickly.
Yeah. But like, maybe this is for another day. But what I'm saying is that, in business, you should be smart, intellectually smart. Because if you are intelligent, then you will probably, certain part of your business, you will do pro bonos, you will do charities. Because the intelligence comes also from the sensibility, how sensible you are.
Yeah, but I think there's rather than separating, like my intuition says that rather than separating the words intellect and intelligence, it's there's just different branches of intelligence, like emotional intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that you if you're intelligent, you are intellectually your intellect and your emotional part are together, and that makes a person intelligent. These two things, brain and heart. When you don't put heart and you are just an intellectual person, a smart person. Smart people do a lot of wrongs.
Yeah,
not intelligent people.
They do wrongs too, but
intelligent, I don't think so.
Of course, they do wrong. Everybody does wrong.
I mean, no, but I'm talking about wrongs into like deceiving, making illegal stuff. That,
of course they do. Like I think they do.
Well, not on purpose. If you are intelligent and you break the law, it's because you are doing it for the greater purpose to help somebody that is in need.
So you connect intelligence into
compassion, kindness.
Okay.
And that's the true intelligence. Because intellectually smart, I think, is the same. Like you can smart intellectual,
that begs the question. Like, if you think about your network and people who you know, can you spot anyone who you would describe as an intellectual?
Intellectual?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, many people.
You do? Because I cannot think of any. I don't know what's wrong.
I work with many intellectual people.
I don't know if I just don't recognize it or.
But so intellectual, it would be somebody that has, intellect. If you look at the definition of intellect, it's an abstraction of the reality and how they also I think it could be linked to technical knowledge. It goes to knowledge. It goes to like this agility to interpret reality in a way from their own angle of professionalism or academia. And if you, from your own angle of all that, like Ikigai, you connect that to what the world needs, to what you are good at, like somehow, like that's what I think you start to get more like an intelligence, more holistic way. But intellect is just a part of it. It's just the way you're using your knowledge and your data and information and how you put that on practice and create like a plan to execute into an objective.
I think we should expand our intellectual network by Googling the top 5 intellectuals in the world and send them invitations.
The top 5, well, but if you think about intellectuals, I can give you a few, definitely.
But to be interviewed,
yeah,
it would be great because I that's one of the reasons that I want to do podcasts for it, is to learn to talk to people that understand the world in so much more complex way than I do, and I just want to pick their brain a bit.
So an intellectual person is somebody who engage in a critical thinking, research, and reflection about the reality of society and propose solutions for normative problems of society. So,
but do you have them in your inner circle, or is it just from work environment? Or I think Jordan Peterson says it, that you should never be the stupidest person in the room or the smartest person in the room. Otherwise, you're in the wrong room. But that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
You might not learn anything.
Yeah, I mean, I can think about a few people, yeah.
Okay. I think that's a good place to wrap it up, that we have to collect a list of people that we want to have on the show.
Yeah.
And they can then shine here. We want to ask short, brief, comprehensive questions and get long answers from them, and just learn and listen along the way.
Yep. I think so.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for this, Omar.
No worries.
Talk soon again.
Always a pleasure. Okay.
Always a pleasure.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.